Hello and welcome. I'm Pranay Upadhyay and you're watching India Today Global. We are starting this bulletin with the latest updates of violent and volatile situation of India's eastern neighbor Bangladesh. As Bangladesh prepares to welcome Tarique Rahman, the son of Khaleda Zia, former Prime Minister, and former Bangladesh President General Ziaur Rahman, the country's finance advisor Dr. Salahuddin Ahmed has said that the interim government does not want a bitter relationship with a bigger neighbor like India. According to Bangladesh media reports, Ahmed said that the chief advisor Muhammad Yunus is personally engaged in efforts to ease tensions and restore normalcy in relation with New Delhi. Regarding the anti-India rhetoric, he said that remarks are purely political and have no connection with the government. But the interim government of Muhammad Yunus does not practice what it preaches. Since the ouster of former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina in August last year, Bangladesh has seen a surge in anti-India rhetoric. Hindus and temples have been attacked, and extremist elements are now rising and spewing venom against India in their speeches. Constant threats of separating the northeastern states or the seven sisters from India have been part of their speeches. After Sheikh Hasina flew to India following her ouster, Dhaka has been pressurizing New Delhi to extradite the former Prime Minister. However, India has said that we will look into it. Meanwhile, the homecoming of Tarique Rahman on December 25th comes just 50 days ahead of the national elections in the country that is to be held on February 12, 2026. Amid the chaos and rise in extremism, the return of Rahman is seen by the BNP as a lifeline and an attempt to strengthen its waning grassroots. This will further energize the voters and party cadres ahead of the elections. Rahman's return could also fill the void created due to his absence and the poor health of his mother and former Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Khaleda Zia.
Stage is set for Tarique Rahman's grand arrival and grand welcome in Dhaka. However, he will face several challenges that Bangladesh is suffering through. From the mob violence to the rise of fundamentalists, political instability, economic challenges, the threat to the minorities, and moreover, the Indo-Bangladesh betraying soaring relationship. And that becomes major challenges for Tarique Rahman and his BNP to work upon as and when he begins his political journey 2.0 in Bangladesh. In Dhaka at Ground Zero, this is Sharif Mishra for India Today.
So you have seen this report of my colleague Ashutosh Mishra from Dhaka, and we are covering the Bangladesh situation. But weeks after the student leader Sharif Osman Hadi succumbed to the gunshot, his brother has alleged that the Muhammad Yunus-led interim government is using the death of Osman Hadi as a plot to defer the Bangladesh elections scheduled on February 12, 2026. And let's listen in to what Osman Hadi's brother Omar Hadi had to say.
I request this government under whose leadership Osman Hadi was killed that they can't escape the responsibility of this murder. You too will have to face the judicial process. Maybe not now, maybe 10 years later. But I warn you that one day you will face court. If you think when you are ousted from power in next 2 months and you will run away to a different country, let me tell you that people of this country will bring you to face the justice. So we request the government to produce the culprits and ensure justice. You were part of this conspiracy to kill him and turn this issue into a reason to postpone the election. We will not let this happen.
And meanwhile, the media of Bangladesh is also facing wrath. They are facing threats and attacks. So because following attacks on prominent Bangladeshi newspapers earlier this week, several youth visited the office of Global TV Bangladesh in Dhaka and demanded the removal of its head of news, Naznin Munni, failing which it would meet the fate of Prothom and Daily Star. The youth claimed that Naznin, a popular TV anchor, was an Awami League supporter. The youth were said to be members of the Anti-Discrimination Student Front, but the outfit has distanced itself from them. The incident happened on December 21st, 3 days after the offices of Prothom and Daily Star were vandalized and set on fire. Naznin told media that she was not in the office when the incident happened. She said that youth met the managing director and complained that the coverage of death of Osman Hadi was not adequate. However, the youth were not convinced and asked the managing director to give an undertaking that she would be removed within 48 hours. However, the MD of the news organization refused to sign the document. Let's listen in to what Naznin Munni told my colleague Ashutosh Mishra.
Naznin, thank you for speaking to India Today. Please tell the situation how the Bangladesh media has been really in a difficulties for last few days, particularly the threat that you have been receiving, Naznin.
Yeah, this is an unfortunate situation for us. The journalists are all time is in a threat in all governments era. But this time, nowadays, actually, 10, 15 days are in the extreme situation because, the Daily Star and Prothom, the powerful station, powerful and also the biggest and the popular news outlet they are. And their building are burned already. That scenario make some fear in the journalist community.
So by any chance, do you understand that what was the provocation that led that extremists threatening you, and what's exactly the reason is they are threatening you?
Actually, let me clear one thing. All the thing doing by the extremists, we don't have any proof, right? But the extremist group is there. This is the right. But all the thing, there is, again, I'm saying, this is not already proven that extremists are doing this thing. We have to prove, right? With the journalists.
Some elements you have written that some elements are threatening you.
Yeah, some elements are threatening you. Some group of people are threatening us, and also the media house and also the media station. We didn't recognize that group. What is their political ideology? Who are they? This is not already revealed, right? So we are searching for who they are, who they want to actually. So we're searching. Maybe we can find who did this.
So have you filed a complaint to the police? What has been administration's response so far, Naznin?
Not really. I went to police station last evening, and I told the police that what was happened to me. They said that they will collect the CCTV footage and then they will do their inquiry. What happened that day?
So could you tell us for how many days you have been receiving the threats, and have you have you resumed your office, or you're not going to your workplace?
Yeah, I'm not going to my workplace last 2 days, right? So my authority told me to not to come to the office because the scenario is not good. They told me after cooling down the situation, then I can go to the office. So I'm now at home. You know the scenario. This is my home. So I'm doing my job. This is homework, home office actually.
So you have heard Naznin Munni, a prominent Bangladesh TV anchor. And in fact, Naznin Munni was part of the student uprising. She supported in a way, but now she is also facing the wrath, and that is an example, that is an evident, example of how volatile situation of Bangladesh is currently. And Naznin Munni, a prominent TV anchor, is facing the wrath of these, violent mobs and violent students. We do not know who exactly are these individuals, but these are the situation and these are the conditions of Bangladesh and in Dhaka. And in fact, a very disturbing news also came just a while ago that a crude bomb was exploded in Dhaka, the Mog Bazar area, the uprising memorial in Mog Bazar of Dhaka, where the Molotov cocktail was fired, and in fact, it actually wounded and killed an individual, a citizen died there in Dhaka. So this is the situation of Bangladesh, and that actually raises serious concern about the Bangladesh condition. And these are the visuals of the Bangladesh. But now, let's move on to another story which is generating, lot of debate, and that is in the United States. The US Department of Justice has released new Epstein files, sparking controversy. A letter allegedly from Jeffrey Epstein to Larry Nassar referred to Donald Trump as our president and mentioned a love of young nubile girls. The DOJ and FBI have since confirmed that letter is fake and contains false claims. Mahashweta Lala comes up with this report.
As US Department of Justice releases fresh trove of Epstein files, skeletons are tumbling out of the closet. A letter allegedly written by a convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein to another sex offender Larry Nassar mentions President Donald Trump's name. In the letter, Epstein writes that President Trump shared their love of young, nubile girls. The letter was sent on August 13, 2019. But according to a statement of the DOJ, some of these documents are untrue and make sensationalist claims against the president. These documents were submitted to the FBI before the 2020 election. Reuters reports that the envelope was postmarked in Virginia 3 days after Epstein's death, not New York, and listed an incorrect jail address without his required inmate number. FBI has confirmed that the letter is fake. The agency has also affirmed that the writing does not appear to match Jeffrey Epstein's. Earlier answering to a question about the photographs of former President Bill Clinton that were released as part of Epstein files, Trump said it was a terrible thing and called Clinton a big boy.
No, I don't like the pictures of Bill Clinton being shown. I don't like the pictures of other people being shown. I think it's a terrible thing. I think Bill Clinton's a big boy. He can handle it. But you probably have pictures being exposed of other people that innocently met Jeffrey Epstein years ago, many years ago, and they're, highly respected bankers and lawyers and others.
The other framed personalities whose photographs have been part of the Epstein files include Michael Jackson with President Bill Clinton and Diana Ross. Bill Clinton, who is seen in a tub, and also a painting of Clinton in a dress. With Mahashweta Lala, Bureau Report, India Today.
And moving on to another disturbing story. A 30-year-old Indian national, Himanshi Khurana, was murdered in Canada's Toronto last week. Law enforcement authorities issued a search warrant for 32-year-old Abdul Ghafoori on charge of first-degree murder. According to police officers and authorities, they responded to a missing persons call on night of December 19th, and on December 20th, they found the missing woman's dead body inside a residential apartment. The police says that they have issued a countrywide warrant for the arrest of 32-year-old Abdul Ghafoori from Toronto in this case. According to the Canadian media reports, police authorities suspect the case to be an act of intimate partner violence. The Indian consulate in Toronto expressed their condolences and has assured of all possible assistance to the family members. The first-degree charges has a life sentence without parole if the prosecution can prove the premeditated murder and intent to kill a person. And now, let's see what else making news around the globe and world at a glance.
Russia's defense military released a video of what is called to show airstrikes and troop movement in Rodinsk, Donetsk, Ukraine. Reuters was able to confirm the locations in the video from railway lines, road layout, building and trees, which matched file and satellite imagery. The date could not be independently verified. Three people, including 2 police officers, were killed in an explosion in Moscow. Russian investigators said just days after a car bomb killed a high-ranking general not far away. The 2 traffic police officers were approaching a suspicious individual when an explosive device detonated. The State Department announced it was barring 5 Europeans it accused of leading efforts to pressure US tech firms to censor or suppress American viewpoints. The list also includes former European Union Commissioner Thierry Breton, who clashed with tech billionaire Elon Musk over broadcasting an online interview with Donald Trump. French President Emmanuel Macron has slammed the ban on Thierry Breton and other anti-disinformation campaigners. Venezuela's National Assembly passed a law aimed at guaranteeing and protecting freedom of navigation and trade against piracy. Blockades and other illicit international acts following US seizures of vessels carrying Venezuelan oil in the Caribbean. The law of guarantee freedom of navigation and commerce against piracy, blockade and other international illicit acts was declared approved by National Assembly President after a vote.
From Taiwan to Venezuela, 2026 is shaping up as a year of converging crises. China, Venezuela and Iran-backed actors are testing global limits, threatening energy, trade and security. With multiple flashpoints on the rise, the world faces unprecedented risk. Watch the full episode of Statecraft to see why 2026 could redefine global security.
"2026 is shaping up to be a year the world cannot ignore. From the Taiwan Strait to Caracas, from Tehran to Beirut, tensions are simmering in multiple corners of the globe. China edges closer to reclaiming Taiwan. The United States braces for potential confrontation with Venezuela. Israel faces escalating threats from Iran, and unrest simmers in Lebanon and the West Bank. Nations are testing boundaries, alliances are being strained, and the margin for miscalculation is razor thin. So how far are the world's powers willing to go before these simmering conflicts ignite into something far larger? Hello and welcome. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta Mohan. Let's start with Asia's most critical flashpoint, Taiwan. China's leadership under Xi Jinping has repeatedly emphasized reunification with Taiwan by force if necessary. Reports indicate Xi has instructed the People's Liberation Army to prepare for operations to reclaim the island as early as 2027. But geopolitical shifts in 2026 could accelerate this timeline. Europe, caught in the ongoing war in Ukraine and grappling with energy and economic crises, would be largely unable to counter Chinese action. China has steadily expanded its military presence around the Taiwan Strait. Amphibious exercises, live-fire drills, and repeated air incursions into Taiwan's air defense identification zone signal operational readiness. Intelligence assessments suggest the PLA has developed rapid deployment strategies designed to overwhelm Taiwan before a coordinated international response could materialize. Taiwan's potential crisis is also a test of global deterrence. The US maintains a policy of strategic ambiguity, committing to Taiwan's defense without specifying the conditions. But US President Donald Trump has made it clear: fight your own wars. And if you need weapons from us, buy them. Don't ask for doles and aids. Beijing, meanwhile, calibrates its messaging to exploit divisions in Washington and NATO. Analysts warn that 2026 may see this ambiguity pushed to its limits, as China could perceive a narrow window of opportunity to act decisively. Moving to the Western Hemisphere, the United States faces another potential flashpoint: Venezuela. Under President Nicolas Maduro, Venezuela remains politically isolated, economically fragile, and increasingly militarized. Moscow and Tehran have strengthened ties with Caracas, supplying military hardware, air defense systems, and advisory support. US sanctions and diplomatic pressure persist, but Caracas has resisted external demands, making the political situation increasingly combustible. US planners would have to contend not only with Venezuelan forces, but with asymmetric threats in the Caribbean and northern South America. The risk is compounded by Venezuela's alliances. Russian military advisors and Iranian logistics support could complicate US operational planning. Even limited US strikes might provoke asymmetric retaliation, cyber attacks on financial institutions, maritime harassment in the Caribbean, or indirect action through proxy actors in neighboring countries. Unlike Taiwan or Venezuela, this theater is densely populated. Civilian casualties and infrastructure damage could escalate humanitarian crises. Analysts caution that even a minor incident could trigger multi-day escalations, drawing in regional actors and international mediators. The combination of Iranian-backed proxies and Israel's preemptive doctrine creates a volatile environment. Analysts predict that 2026 may witness multiple Middle East or West Asian crises erupting in succession or even simultaneously, testing the limits of global conflict management. Deploying forces to both Latin America and the Middle East while maintaining global readiness presents a logistical and strategic challenge for America. Adversaries could exploit perceived overextension, increasing the risk of miscalculation. In such a scenario, Washington would face difficult choices about prioritization. Intelligence, diplomacy, and military presence would all be tested to unprecedented levels. Analysts warn that overlapping conflicts would magnify global instability with economic, humanitarian, and security repercussions worldwide. The world must brace for 2026. Strategic foresight, international coordination, and robust defense readiness will be tested. Potential conflicts converge, creating a year that could redefine global security for decades. Global powers must anticipate, plan, and act with precision because the convergence of crises may leave little room for error. Thank you for watching Statecraft.
And with this, we end our bulletin, but we are leaving you with the visuals of thousands of fans of German Bundesliga club gathered for the traditional Christmas carol singing at their favorite team stadium. Good night and wishing you a very Merry Christmas.